Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. This is Pamela Parker from the Law Office of Pamela Parker. I am happy to talk to you today about Fearless Family Planning Basics, the 4 keys to a safe, secure future for your special needs child. We have an office open in Amherst, Massachusetts, and hope to be able to help out some families up there with this very, very important topic. Just so you know where I'm coming from, this on the left is my husband and my son, Griffin. Griffin has autism. He's now 23 years old and he lives in a group home. And on the right side is me and my oldest son, Dylan, who has cerebral palsy, and he's 25 years old now. He's still living at home with the assistance of aides that come in and help us out. Our attorney in Massachusetts is Hallie Hughes, and I don't have any cute pictures of her and her family, but she has 3 little girls, all elementary age, one of whom has some special needs that have required her also to learn how to deal with therapists and school systems and all the various things that special needs parents have to deal with. So we really know from an inside space what it's like to be worried about the future of your special needs child. If you're not sure whether or not they're going to be able to take care of themselves in the future, you know that they're not ever going to be able to be completely independent and able to care for themselves. The thought of you getting to the end of your life is really scary because you as a parent are still supposed to need to take care of your child that's not going to be able to do so. And so what we do at our law firm is we help parents figure out how to put a system in place that will allow your child to be well cared for in the future, even after you're not around anymore. The way we do that is through what we call the 4-key system. The 4 key areas that we found necessary for planning are to build a community of caregivers, to prepare for financial supports, of course, to also put together transition tools that can be used at the time of transitioning from one caregiver to another, and then finally, to make sure that the legal documents are in place that will ensure that the plan you have created actually works and can be enforced. So let's talk about each of these 4 keys one at a time. Building a community of caregivers is, of course, one of the most important. If there's nobody to help your child, it almost doesn't matter. Usually when parents think about caregivers in the future, they're thinking about replacing themselves. And you as a parent know that you do a huge constellation of activities to take care of your child. Of course, there's day-to-day care. You know, there may be personal care involved, the physical act of caring for your child. There's also the love and support and that just as a parent you provide. There may be dealing with doctors. There may be carrying them to visits, certainly learning about the activities, making sure that the money and finances necessary to take care of them are in place. A lot of parenting, especially for special needs parents, involves being on the telephone, talking to people, trying to get services or trying to get payments. A lot of different things involved. Just as a parent, you know how many things that you do. So when we think about replacing ourselves as a caregiver, it often seems like there's absolutely no way that that can be done. There isn't anybody out there who's going to do the things that you do for your child. What we try to do is encourage families to think about this as a community. So all of these various things that you do for your child, even though you do all of them, they don't have to all be done by the same person. So you can break your role out into its different components and include people in your child's circle who have skills and interest in these various areas. So for some of your children, a formal court-appointed guardian whose job is to make sure that the child has care, food, shelter, medical care, etc. That's not necessarily the only person that should be involved with your child. And if you don't have a formal court-appointed guardian, you're going to have a lot of more informal roles anyway. What I encourage people to think about is including anyone who is interested in your child, whether that is family members, friends of the family, friends of your child, caregivers that they've had in the school system, providers, maybe therapists, nurses, doctors that have taken a particular interest in your child. Keep all of those people involved. Make sure that they are included in the circle, because your child may not be able to maintain their own social network. You as a parent will need to create some kind of system for keeping people basically updated about your child, particularly once they leave the school system. Make sure that there's a way to provide information to all of these people that are interested in your child so they know what's going on. You know, even if it's just something as sort of yearly Christmas letter where you update people on the events of the year, or if it's a regular email newsletter, or if it's periodic in-person meetings at a coffee shop or around the table with your child there, or a Facebook group, whatever it is, there should be some way to maintain contact and provide ongoing information to people that are interested in your child. And here's the really important part. Be sure that you give these people permission to be involved in your child's life and to speak to the formal caregivers about information that they think is useful to your child. So, for instance, you may have somebody whose job is to make sure that every day there's clean clothes and food on the table for your child. But then there is some, maybe doesn't see your child very often, but loves to research on the internet, knows the kinds of things your child is interested in, and is really good at finding resources. They may periodically come across programs that they think would be of interest to your child, or maybe medical care is their particular interest, and they are paying attention to articles that come out about treatments and new therapies and new approaches. And they may see something that they think ought to be looked into for your child. Make sure that those people know that they are welcome and encouraged by you. Pass that information on to the people that are more directly and daily involved with your child. All of these people working together are going to provide a much better quality of life for your child in the future. You also want to make sure that just friends and family who maybe don't know much about what's going on with your child and aren't that interested, but like to come and sit and watch a movie with them, or come and say hi, or maybe take them out to lunch, or just out for a walk. You know, a lot of it's going to depend on what a child can and likes to do. But those people should be encouraged too to drop by and to come and see your child. If your child is living with one or two people or living in a group home, whatever the setting is, if there are outside people that come and see what's going on and visit your child, they can also help to keep an eye on whether your child is receiving good care, whether there are problems that the official guardian needs to be alerted to. All of that kind of information and the influx of people and eyes and interest to your child is going to make sure that your child has the best quality of life possible. So encourage this community that you build to be involved at whatever level they're interested in, and to maintain contact with your child and their, more day-to-day guardians and caregivers. The second key is financial support, because of course there's going to need to be money to provide for your child. Those financial supports come from a variety of places. Government benefit is kind of the cornerstone of financial support for your child. If they are otherwise eligible for government benefits, you want to make sure that they maintain that eligibility. Generally, that's going to be Social Security benefits. If your child has a developmental disability and is never able to work in their life sufficiently to receive disability benefits based on having had a job, there is a program that is needs-based for low-income people who have that qualifies them to receive a cash benefit to cover food and shelter each month. It's called SSI. It's generally that's the term that you'll hear, SSI. When your child is under 18, Social Security Administration, which is the agency that administers the SSI benefit, looks at the total family income to determine if they are qualified for this benefit. So a lot of families apply for SSI benefits while their child is under 18. But once the child hits the age of 18, Social Security looks only at the income and assets of the child. So almost all of the children with developmental disabilities are going to be eligible to receive SSI benefits when they turn 18. They're still in school, they're not working. And for a lot of them that are not going to be able to work at 18, it does not matter what the parent's income is. Their income and their assets will qualify them for SSI. If they have very low assets, and we'll talk about that in a moment. In Massachusetts, once they qualify for SSI benefits, they also qualify for MassHealth, which is the Medicaid program in Massachusetts. So when you hear stories in the news, et cetera, about Medicaid, that's what we call MassHealth in Massachusetts. And that is a real prize for people with disabilities because it provides not only health insurance coverage, but it also provides money for the kinds of supports that will enable your child to actually get through a day, hopefully in the community in some capacity. So it can provide, in addition to just general health care, it can provide for things like aides to come in and assist with activities of daily living. It can provide for modifications to the home if there are physical barriers. So sometimes vocational supports. So the Medicaid MassHealth piece is very, very important for as part of the financial support system, the disability. Some individuals will be able to work. If they are completely supporting themselves, then they are not going to be able to get, in most cases, the government benefits. But for a lot of people, they will be able to have a part-time job or an occasional job, and they will be bringing in some income, although not anything like enough to support themselves. And they are able to work some and still receive SSI and MassHealth. And that is part of what will go into supporting them. And there are different things that can be done with that work income. Family support is going to be very important, of course. So as a parent, while your child is living with you, you are supplementing whatever government benefits they have to provide additional extra quality of life kinds of things. Recreational activities, you may be buying the internet service, you may be buying Netflix so that they can watch movies, you may be providing additional therapy services that are not covered by their medical coverage. So family support is part of it. And after you are gone, normally, as a parent, you would leave some sort of inheritance to your children. With a child with a disability who's receiving government benefits, you can't leave money outright to that child, or they will be disqualified from their benefits. The way that you can do that is to create a special needs trust, which is also sometimes called a supplemental needs trust, which is a very particular type of trust that allows parents or anyone else to leave money to be used for the benefit of an individual with a disability that will not disqualify them from other needs-based governmental benefits. So as a parent of a child who is receiving SSI, who is receiving mass health benefits, and you as the parent can leave them an inheritance of whatever amount of money you have. You can provide life insurance benefits to be placed in that trust and used for the care of your child, pension benefits, pretty much anything that you have in one of these special needs trusts to be used to supplement the care and quality of life of your child. And then recently, we also have a program known as the ABLE account, which was created by the federal Congress, and it allows individuals with disabilities themselves to open accounts, sometimes with money that their parents can contribute at from whatever source. It allows them to open an account that they control, that they can spend, that does not disqualify them from benefits. There's some limitations. There's a limited amount that can be put into this account each year. There's a limited total amount over a lifetime that can be put into the account. Over those amounts, it counts as a resource towards their government benefits. But as long as you stay under those amounts, this account is very, very useful for individuals who are able to handle their own money, but not necessarily able to completely support themselves. So it's another tool that we have in the last couple of years to use in planning the financial supports of individuals with disabilities. The third key area is transition tools, which is something that people generally don't think about right off the top of their head when they're doing planning, but it's really important to think about the points in time where your child will be transitioning from one caregiver to another. Typically, you're going to see this at the point where a parent is no longer able to continue care, either through disability or their own death. And then at times in the future, once the parents are gone, there may be other transitions from one caregiver to another. What you will need to do is provide a record of all of the information that's necessary to take care of your child that can be passed on from one caregiver to a next to smooth that transition. So of course you're going to have things like list of all the doctors, list of all the medications, list of where the bank accounts are, things like that. What I also encourage people to think about are the more intangible kinds of things that go into caring for your child. So particularly if your child is nonverbal, you'll want to make sure that you put down things like, what their favorite foods are, what their bedtime ritual is, what do they like to do on a summer day, what do they like to do on a winter day, what's their favorite toy or activity, things that a future caregiver that doesn't know your child very well isn't necessarily going to know, but that can make a big difference in your child's life if it's not there anymore. So those kinds of things can be written down. And I also encourage parents to write out information on their sort of philosophy of caregiving. Make sure that future caregivers know what your priorities are for the care of your child. So, for example, you have money in a trust to supplement the care of your child. Do you, as a parent, want that money to be prioritized towards medical care, towards seeking the newest kinds of treatments, the newest kinds of therapies? Or do you prefer that the priority be given to quality of life kinds of things in terms of leisure activities, experiences? Do you want the money to be spent on trips? So as a parent, you have things that you use as priorities when figuring out how to use your limited budget. Write down and pass on that information to future caregivers as well, so that whatever you have built as a parent into the life of your child, the things that are important to you, can continue to be important in the life of your child in the future. You can provide this information any way that works for you. So write it down on a piece of paper, do a Google Doc, turn on your tape recorder and just talk about these things. Have a notebook with a bunch of different pieces of paper in it. Whatever works for you is the best way to do it. That's all I can say about that. There's not a way to do this. It's whatever will get you to do it. And then make sure that people know that it exists. Think about it like a babysitter's note. When your children are really little and you go out for a night and you hire a babysitter, you leave a little note on the refrigerator that says, here are the emergency numbers, here's the foods they're allergic to, here's what time bedtime is, things like that. What you're writing here is basically a babysitter's note on steroids. Everything you can think about your child, you want to be in this, so that people know, if you're not there to tell them, how best to take care of your child. And the less communication skills your child has, the more information you're going to want to put in it. The fourth and last key is legal documents. And if, we're a law firm, so this is a thing that we can do that other people aren't necessarily going to be able to do. But it's really important because all of this planning that you're putting together, who's going to take care of your child, who do you want to manage their money, who do you want to be involved in their medical care, all of those things that are important to you, if you don't do the legal documents to provide the authority and the enforcement ability to make that plan work, it's not going to work. So you cannot forget this piece. It does not work to simply tell everybody in your family how you want things to go. You have to do the papers that will provide backup to let people do these things. So that may run anywhere from a formal court-appointed guardianship, or if your child is not in need of a guardian, you want to make sure that there are powers of attorney, medical powers of attorney, and other kinds of information releases that allow people to be involved and act as an agent for your child where necessary. As a parent, you're going to want to make sure that there is a special needs trust in place so that you can provide extra money beyond benefits for your child. And then to make that work, the parents must have a will that says, rather than leaving money outright to the child with a disability, whatever portion of your estate you want to leave to your child is a needs trust, and you have to have a will that says to do it that way. Once you create your special needs trust, anyone can contribute money to it. So if a parent creates a special needs trust, grandparents can use it to provide money for a grandchild. Siblings to assist with the future care of your child in a financial way can use that same special needs trust. And then you want to make sure that you have documents that state what your preferences are in terms of the people who are officially appointed to help take care of your child in the way of guardians and trustees. Trustees being the people that are managing the money. So that's my really quick talk through the basic 4 keys of special needs planning. Every family is different. Every plan is going to look a little different, but the basic structure is the same. What I would encourage you to do, if you need more information, go to our website, parkercounsel.com, and on the right side of the page, you'll see a little box that allows you to request something called a special needs planning blueprint. And it's a little document that we've created that we tried to list out all of the many activities that are involved in putting these 4 key systems together, some of which will apply to you and some of which won't. But it will allow you to organize yourself as figure out which items you need, whether you have them, plan out when you're going to do them, kind of put your own system in place to get all of these things done. Just a free download that'll help you get organized. Offering a free 30-minute phone consultation if you're watching this, that you can talk to me and just kind of talk about your own situation and figure out what it is that you need personally for your family, and kind of get an idea of what you need to be thinking about and what to do next in your specific personal situation. And that's totally free. If you are live, over on the right side of your screen, you'll see this free phone consultation. You can click the Schedule Now button, and there's an online scheduler. You can just schedule your 30 minutes right now. If you're watching the replay, you won't see that. But if you look at the description right below this video, there's a link straight to the page. Anytime in the next 2 weeks, pick a 30-minute, and we'll have an attorney speak to you about. Really strongly encourage you to take advantage of this, give you a better idea of how all of this works. Particular questions about your family situation or questions that have come up listening to this, we can talk about all of that. No, if you have work that needs to be done, we would love to work. But if this just needs, if this is some questions answered and then go on your way, perfectly okay. We're just trying to you. So please take advantage of that. And that's all of our discussion. There's lots of information on our website, lots of information on the Facebook page. Schedule a call with us. Let's help you get it taken care of. Thanks so much.